Hello, welcome back to Whose Views. As you can see, I am joined by Michael. Hiya, Michael.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I am excited for this show because Michael and I are here as part of our Sound of Whosic series to talk about Dominic Glynn's brand new EP. EP, Michael. It's an EP, which yeah, which is the Survival Remixes. And oh my goodness, I'm so excited to talk about this. This, in case you don't know, is another in Dominic Glynn's reworkings of a lot of his original soundtrack from Doctor Who back in the late 80s. You can see there that you can also get the Gallifrey remixes, the Ravelox remixes, the Happiness Patrol remixes. And yeah, now we've got the Survival remixes. Michael, you will know, as some of the Who viewers will know, Survival is probably one of my is my favorite soundtrack. That I've loved it since 1989. There was always something that just caught me about the Survival soundtrack. It was just so tense and atmospheric and spooky, and it blew me my mind at the time. I was just like, what am I listening to here? It's fantastic. So when Dominic came on our show, our first Sound of Whosic show, and he just dropped this very casually, didn't he? Oh yeah, I'm doing a Survival remix. Yeah. Do you remember? I was just like, oh, what? I was so excited from that moment on, and now we have it in our grubby little protuberances. It's just brilliant, isn't it?
It's great. I mean, it's great to have Dominic Glynn music. For me, as a teenager, when he was composing for Doctor Who, I always loved his music, and I was always madly trying to record the television with my with my mono tape recorder and trying to catch bits of Dominic's music. And I loved the way it opened in some of those, especially like Dragonfire and Happiness Patrol. There was a certain percussive quality to his music that I really loved. It was a real dark foreboding. And this is around the time of, Batman 89 and all this. So dark was in vogue.
It was in, wasn't it? Yeah.
And so Dominic's music was, I loved it. I always got excited when I'd read, I think I mentioned this on the other stream, in the Doctor Who fanzines that I'd get from my local club, that in the next season, Dominic Glynn is going to be doing this story and this story. Oh, fantastic. So, but I could never get a clean recording. It was always off the telly, and my mother banging pots in the background or whatever. And so now, not only did we have, there was the black light tape, but that was hard to get in Australia. And then we got the variations on a theme, and I was like, that was good. It was a remix of his first, remix of Doctor Who. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then later on, obviously, and then the other pieces were released, and then the full Survival soundtrack was released. Thank you, Silver Screen. More, please. And fantastic. And then I discovered his remixes. I keep wanting to say the ravioli remixes.
The ravioli remixes.
The Ravelox remixes, the Gallifrey remixes, which I think the Gallifrey remixes were from Panopticon. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, they were all inspired by that as well. But
have those available, and now this Survival was fantastic.
It's so exciting. For those of you who haven't seen it yet, where have you been? This EP, as you can see on the scroll down there, is available on all your favorite digital musical services. And also, just to let you know as well, that at the time of recording, the CD is on the way, as well, as Dominic has confirmed on this very channel. So if you're like myself and you want that hard copy, you should keep an eye on Dominic's Facebook page, because that's when he'll announce
physical media.
Physical media is so important right now. But to let you know what this EP has, this has 5 tracks on this. It's got Cat Flap, Run Doctor Run, The Dead Valley, Good Hunting Sister, and then a bonus track, which is a podcast theme, and it's a variation, another variation on the theme tune we all know and love. But even these 4 tracks from Survival, Cat Flap, Run Doctor Run, The Dead Valley, Good Hunting Sister, you know exactly what you're going to get rid of. The pictures start to come to mind already, don't they? And I have to say, it works
It does.
so well, doesn't it?
And don't think, dear listener, that you're going to get just a rehash of Survival. It's Survival, and you go
recognizably Survival.
There's the master, and there's Doctor. What an unexpected pleasure! All those moments are there, but then he extrapolates on it so beautifully and takes a moment from Survival and then embellishes it.
Embellishes is a good word.
Yeah. And forget Dominic, I don't know music. I'm not a musician, so I cannot describe.
Well, but what we can do is we can appreciate the music. I mean, this thing starts with Run Doctor Run. It starts so eerily, but it actually puts you on a different plane there, really, because it twists. I mean, if you talk about stories twisting, this piece of music happens to twist as well, because it does start with this whole thing where you think, ooh, this is quite spooky, you know, ooh, what's going on here? And then it just takes you somewhere else.
Because I was going to hold out for the CD, for the physical copy, and then you sent me a message to say, hey, let's review this. And I was like, oh, I haven't got the CD. Oh, okay, well, I'll just get the digital version and buy the CD later. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I chucked it on in the car, and the opening track, Cat Flap, came on, which, of course, Cat Flap, for those who don't know, was the working title of Survival. And
it was, yeah.
So it's a nice little clever name there. And when that opened, I think I messaged you and said, "Oh, this is like the opening of an episode. A new episode."
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, this is, if I was making Doctor Who, which I'm not, I'd have the music like this. This is an opening scene of a new episode to me, and it had that first track certainly had a almost a Blade Runner, Tron, Daft Punk element to it. Very
it's
similar.
Atmospheric, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really, really nice soundscape for those
it's
of you
beautiful.
who like soundscapes. Yeah,
you can recognize the original Survival themes in here immediately, but there is again with Cat Flap, like Run Doctor Run, there is that twist. It's unexpected.
Yeah,
it's very.
It goes in new directions.
They are familiar vibes.
Yeah,
but as you say, embellished. They are built upon. They are grand. I mean, there's a part here where you think he's got a whole orchestra coming into the blooming into his room, you know, into his studio.
He's not using necessarily the same gear. It's 30 years.
It's incredible, though, isn't it? Do you know what? Do you know what this reminded me as I'm playing this? This reminded me of the soundtrack CD that I played constantly when I was driving around Ibiza at the turn of the century for The Beach.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know what it is about it, because
my chair is just creaking. I beg, that's not my back.
But it has that same sort of. It's got that same sort of orientation. It's verging on dance music.
Oh yeah.
Because you can picture. I can picture, especially with my background, I can picture for each of the 4 tracks here: Cat Flap, Run Doctor Run, The Dead Valley, and Good Hunting Sister. I can see the dancers. I can see how it could be performed on stage.
And there's dance music, and there's dance music. A lot of like American dance music's dance. You know, it's techno, whatever. It's all that sort of stuff. But
and you've got European dance music.
That's what I was going to say. European dance music has a more. There's a melancholy there. There's something darker with European electronic music, and I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but I can. But this is how I hear it. And invariably, if I hear a piece of dance music, if it's something that I take notice of and go, "Ooh, that's interesting. What's that?" And I look it up. It's always going to be either British or, you know, further onto the continent. Always. And so, yeah, I think this is very much in that vein, as you say, but still recognizably Survival. It's like we're taking a moment from Survival that we recognize, and now we're going to stay in that moment, and we're going to explore it.
Absolutely. I mean, this is it's a lot of these tracks that are on this and these remixes, massive build-ups, and it doesn't let you down.
No.
And it takes you somewhere further, but you can still picture everything you know about the story and everything you know about the visuals. You know, you can still see all of that. And one thing that surprised me as well was the sampling, because in this you've got samples of Sylvester McCoy, Sophie Aldred, and also Anthony Ainley is in there.
Bless him.
You know, they're all in there. And
Yeah,
that
and
took me by surprise.
Lisa Bowerman,
Lisa Bowerman is in there as well.
yeah.
But it did take me surprised to hear the three leads that I'm more familiar with coming into this as part of this new score. I thought it worked beautifully.
No, it did. It works, and they're not overdone. Sometimes dialogue in music can get a bit irritating, but it's subtly done, and they're not necessarily at the forefront of the music too. That's what I like. I mean, Run Doctor Run, the track you were talking about, the chase music, it builds to a lovely pace. It doesn't.
I love it.
As you say, starts out mysterious, but then it gets a bit of pace, which is obviously in keeping with the theme of running.
And it also keeps the danger element in there as well. The whole thing about the original survival score was the mystery, the danger, the anxiety of this. It's still, as I said to Dominic on our show, it feels like you are listening to a desert.
Yeah, and it's
and I know that sounds crazy.
No. Hello, I live in Australia. I know all about living in the desert. Not quite, but within a few hours drive. But it's very unnerving, the music. Don't you think? In a good way, in a very Doctor Who-y way, in a very original Doctor Who-y way.
It is. I mean, Dominic, if you want to see what Dominic is saying about this himself, by the way, he did come onto the show in November 2023. This one, Merchandise Paradise, Dominic Glynn remixing Who. This is available on the Merchandise Paradise playlist. So if you want to have a look at that, this is as the EP was about to arrive, and Dominic came and chatted to me about the workings of this. So go and have a look at that if you haven't already. But in that, he was saying, he was telling me that he's also performed these things live. Now, this is one I would love to see live at a convention.
Oh, hell yeah!
I mean, can you imagine?
Oh, it'd be fantastic.
It would be incredible. If you could set this up. So people who are organising British conventions next year, have a word with Dominic and get him in to do a show. Because you could
we crowdfund a flight for me as well, so I can come and see it.
But this thing, I mean, I know he does this, but this one I have to see, because I want to see this. I want to hear it, and I want to experience it live on a dance floor, as it were, in a theatrical setting, maybe, or wherever, because it's just so. It's so solid. It's so built.
I could see it with lasers, very Pink Floyd, again, musicscapes, soundscapes.
Well, those we were talking to Dominic about that. Those sort of those pangs from the guitar, they're still in there, but they are enriched, aren't they? Wow.
And this is we bang on, you and I, about electronic music. Oh yeah, Doctor Who electronic music. However, this soundtrack bringing back acoustic guitar in there.
Beautifully
in places. So it's I think electronic music works very well with organic instruments. Again, sorry, Dominic, don't have any musical terms in my head, but
he'll forgive us, I'm sure.
I'm a normie, but that juxtaposition of the electronic and the normal instruments, air quote, for want of a better term, works well. And I think for scoring Doctor Who, orchestras with electronics, that would be, I think, that'd be the sweet spot. Personally,
I was just, I can't tell you how excited I was to start listening to this with Cat Flapping running all the way through, and it just takes you away for that little bit of time. It takes you right back to not only the 1989 serial and watching it live, but it actually takes me back to a lot of the clubbing I was doing through the 90s and into 2000s. And as I say, it has that.
Yeah, you had better clubs. You were going to, if you're going to Ibiza, you're going to better
listen,
clubs.
Mate, I was all over the world clubbing.
I got dragged to clubs in Brisbane. I mean, in the 90s. Come on.
Well,
you've never seen a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. Anyway, what you were saying.
Well, I bet I've worked at the BBC. Oh, sure. But controversial. But no, I mean,
problematic.
with my take on the clubs, it does remind me of some of those fantastic clubs through the 90s and the 2000s. And this is why I was thinking in my head when I'm listening to this, and the music is coming through and the beat is coming through, and it's absolutely there. I can actually see a professional production of how the routines could look in this, and how a choreographer could interpret this with dancers, and it would be really, really insanely brilliant. Yeah, it would be really good.
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely. It'd be incredible to hear, to be immersed in that music.
And this is why.
And the half the audience wouldn't even know it was Doctor Who. That if you said,
No.
"This is Doctor Who," they'd be like, "What?"
Yeah. Even with the sampling from the 3 leads in there, it doesn't matter. But it just does evoke. I'll be listening to this a lot in the summer. Put it that way.
I'll be honest. When I put it on in the car, I mean this. It cheered me up. I thought, "Oh, this is Doctor Who. Here we go." You know, I was loving it.
Yeah,
it really cheered me up.
Well, that's the thing about it, isn't it? It's even though it's eerie and it's got those spooky elements that we've got, that we know and love from Survival. It is it's dance.
Yeah,
you know, you can dance to this. It's just fantastic, and all the tracks themselves. We've got to mention as well the bonus track that's in there, this podcast theme, which is another variation on Dominic's theme tune.
Yeah, which podcast is this from? Because did he say Toby Haydock's?
Yeah, podcast? I think it's.
I had to listen to his. I had to listen to his current podcast, and it wasn't on that. So maybe it's another podcast that he was on.
I don't know, but it's there. It's
a big fan of Toby Haydock, by the way.
It's another cracker though, isn't it? What Dominic's done on this one, this reiteration is another.
I loved it. I think I messaged you again. I mean, this theme remix. Ooh, this could be a feature length Doctor Who episode using this theme, couldn't it? You could just hear it. It's real and it's subtle. It's not, big and obvious. Yeah, I shouldn't sing it, but I'll get copyright struck. But it's not the big obvious bass line and melody.
There's a repetition coming through, isn't it? There's a very homely, familiar repetition beat that comes through this.
Oh, this is the Doctor. This is the Doctor Who.
It's mysterious again, but I loved that coziness of that piece. There was a familiarity there, and it's just warm. Somehow Dominic makes this so familiar. You go with this to be able to say, actually, I know what this is. And it's not supposed to be the Doctor Who theme tune, really, because
it's a remix. Else. Yeah.
Yes, but the elements, he's moved it on so that it fits the podcast it was actually meant to be for, of course.
Yeah. It's a nod to the
lovely piece of work.
Yeah, it's a nod to the Doctor Who. It's not the actual Doctor Who theme.
Yeah, because you can't use that. You wouldn't be able. You wouldn't want to.
No, it's not that. Show, but it's
an element,
a hint of the Doctor Who theme. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's what I meant. It'd be a great feature-length theme music if it was on a movie or something like that. Because it's not the theme, but it's evoking the theme. That's the word I'm looking for.
It just what this EP does is it shows you the importance of variation on the music. And this could work beautifully in the right story, a good, solidly written story today. Yeah,
as incidental music.
And I don't just mean in Doctor Who. I mean, this is why Dominic does lots of different work, of course, and is always busy. But you could, this could be in a decent, solid, brilliantly written Doctor Who story today. This sort of music. It's a shame it isn't, because this proves there's a real place for this sort of vibe.
Like I said, when the opening track Cat Flap came on, I thought I could see an opening scene.
Yes.
I don't know where I was, but it was on some alien world, and the TARDIS had yet arrived, but I was there, it took me there easier than some other productions have taken me there, shall we say? So yeah, I mean, and the great tracks, as you said. I'm just looking at my notes here. The Dead Valley, I said, mysterious, recognizable elements from the score. The cheetah cat themes are used. The Good Hunting Sister track, the cues from around Ace's transformation, all those cues from the story are there, and
accompanied by dialogue. We was pointed out at that point. I mean, accompanied by really critical dialogue from the episode at that particular point, which helps to heighten this variation on this theme. It really does work beautifully. This is well thought out. This is well planned and well produced, because he times everything meticulously. It's just. It gives you goosebumps listening to this, because it's just so good.
Yeah. Look, I'd love Dominic to just do more soundscapes for general release, please. That'd be great, because I'd buy them. I'd lap them up. I mean, I'm a huge, Jean-Michel Jarre and Vangelis, Hans Zimmer, all those incredible artists. I'm a huge fan of that, and I love a soundscape that isn't necessarily anchored to vision. So Dominic, if you've got any more projects coming up, I'd love to hear them.
Well, it's strange actually, because back in Merchandise Paradise, he did sort of hint that there may be might do another one. That'd
like,
be great.
Like this, or
yeah, like this, like this. So we will keep in tune with that one and keep in touch with it.
Dragonfire.
You never know what might be on the way.
I don't have any info. But I'm just guessing.
But you know what? Again, because we've got these, I'll show this again as well. We've got the Gallifrey.
I think Dragonfire was remixed in some of those, wasn't it? In the Ravelox.
Yeah, yes. You've got the Ravelox remixes, the Happiness Patrol remixes, and now you've got Survival remixes. Yeah. It would make sense, wouldn't it? Really, but if he's going to revisit them and just because it really does. The Survival remixes just brings home how good those 3 episodes were. There are only 3 episodes. People forget that.
I know.
How good the soundtrack was to the whole thing, how atmospheric it was. And here he's managed to recapture it and move it on a bit. And you sit there and you listen to this, don't you? So I certainly did. The first time I listened to this, I was just like, oh, this was incredible. So I had to listen to it because it's actually a fairly short EP. I've listened to it about 4,000 million times. I've done an iPlayer. Yeah. It's just, you've got, because it's just so good. And certainly when the CD comes out, I'm getting that as well because it needs to go on the shelf with my collection over there.
I've got a very nice CD-sized tub with all my Desert Island discs, and there's the Doctor Who tub there. It's got all the because some things I just have to have physically. My Doctor Who CDs are up there, and this has got to go in there. In fact, I'd like to get the CDs for all of them because I've only got digital of all the remixes. So, Dominic, I'll hit you up for the physical copies. But I was going to say.
What? Oh, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say we should shout out the artwork, the cover artwork too, because that's stunning.
Yeah, I've got that actually on my title card here as well, so we can show that. This is obviously the show, but there it is. There, Survival remixes, and again we talk about this in the Merchandise Paradise episode that Dominic comes and talks to me about this, and he gives a shout out. I can't remember off the top of my head for this show who did that, but it's mentioned in Merchandise Paradise. But it does actually, it evokes exactly what Survival is. And again, it's also for me when I saw that cover originally, it brought back those memories of Ibiza in the 2000s, because I went to Ibiza quite a bit, to be honest.
All the people dressed up as cheetahs chasing you around. Is that what it was?
That's another story completely. That was a good Saturday night. But no, it does. I mean, that was the whole thing, and again, it could be because of the setting of Survival, this very hot desert planet, which reminds me of that, of not wanting to be critical of Ibiza and driving around Ibiza and all that dance stuff that was going on around me and being so involved.
Very dry. I've never been there. Is it very dry?
From what I remember, it was good times. It was good time. Yeah. I remember driving around Ibiza.
But you didn't bump into John Pertwee, did you?
Unfortunately not, no.
Because he was always there.
He lived there, didn't he? He had a lovely time there. But, it's a case of, I think it's maybe why I equate that as well with the soundtrack from the beach as well. Which was important to me at that time. I had it on in the car in Ibiza all the time. And then Survival's coming along with a very similar vibe. The sampling helps in that as well, the elements of the show.
Yeah.
It's just fantastic. And I highly, highly recommend this.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're a fan of classic Doctor Who, I hate that word, classic Doctor Who. It's Doctor Who.
Yeah, it's not right. It's Doctor Who.
Get this. If you love the music, it's like having almost a new soundtrack that's very similar to an old one.
It's familiar, and yet it is different as well. And it is a sign of, it's interesting as well. I mean, you can't really go back to many of the soundtracks of Doctor Who and do what Dominic does here. Remixes it completely for today, because this
you could only have it. You could only have a remix done by the actual artist who did it. You couldn't have another artist come in and remix someone else's score. You have to, like Marquez could only remix his stuff, and Peter Howell should only remix his stuff or whatever. To have a stranger come in and do it, so it's great that Dominic's doing his own work and
he's definitely, of course, you can tell he's definitely got the ear, because as I say, this could be, if you found some serious clubs now, this could be put into a club. And as you said, nobody would know this was Doctor Who, but it would work because you can dance to this.
Imagine there'd be a few fans in the crowd go, "Hang on a minute, that's
if I was still DJing in
the Cheetah Planet. What's going on?
If I was still DJing in proper clubs where this sort of stuff was played all the time, and you mix between heavy dance and ambience and all this sort of stuff, I would love to pop this in to see what the reaction was, because nobody would know it was Doctor Who.
No one would better know unless they were a fan.
And that's when you would go, right, got you, I found you. Need to have a chat with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we're geeking out about this because it is so good. We can't do it the justice, really, because we can't play the tracks, obviously.
I thought you were going to say we can't do this with anyone else. We can't do this in public. We can't geek out like this in public. I've bored my wife with all this stuff.
But I think we're both coming from the same place. This is an immense piece of work. It's absolutely fantastic. Congratulations to Dominic. I mean, I would hugely recommend this. Michael, what are you going to say to anybody watching this particular show?
Oh, if you're a Doctor Who fan of especially the old show and a fan of the music, get this. But even if you're a fan of film music, soundscapes, electronic music, dance music, get it. It's brilliant.
Well said. So we are giving this a huge thumbs up. We are definitely recommending this. This is a wonderful piece of orchestration. It's well thought out. It's well produced. It is well
produced, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. The sounding. I can't wait to get the CD so I can really blast it on my stereo, my good old fashioned stereo system.
On your Discman.
Yeah,
I can't wait for that. What's going
on? So yeah, this is. I've got here. The orchestration is great. I've got bubbles in inverted commas here because as part of this, when you hear it, I've got bubbles as part of the music because it just seems to pop.
Oh, right. Yeah,
and I love that. It's got that real sort of turn of the century dance vibe to this,
and it turns in unexpected ways too. It's not monotone at all.
Not at all. It's not at all. It's just magic. It's absolutely fantastic. So huge congratulations again to Dominic. Thank you for bringing this piece of work to all of us here. It's the Survival Remixes EP. As you can see, we've been scrolling it down. It's available on Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon Music, Spotify, Deezer, and all your favorite digital musical services. You will also be able to get...
I've never heard of Deezer. What's that?
I don't know. Dominic told me about it, so I've just put it in there. But a lot of people know about it, maybe. I don't know. I don't do all this stuff anyway. You know, I prefer the physical copy. Seb, just send me the physical copy. Talking of which, as I've mentioned, if you are looking for a CD, then keep in touch with Dominic at his Facebook page. Just look up Dominic Glynn. He's also got a web page as well, but look up Dominic Glynn on Facebook. You can keep in touch with him there. The CD is on the way. So as soon as it comes along, get it ordered and enjoy this EP.
Absolutely.
It's just magic.
Are the CDs of the other ones going to be? I think I did actually message him.
You can get everything from Dominic. Get in touch with his Facebook page, and he'd be able to tell you. And also, he did mention as well that some of the CDs are going to be signed. So if you're looking for an autograph from Dominic, you can get on the CD as well. I've probably put him in it there, actually. Oops!
But you're going to have to buy a Sharpie.
He's going to be there for quite a while, isn't he? Listen, Michael, I think we've geeked out about this. I think we've got our point across. It's brilliant. Download it, buy the CD, and enjoy every single second. You will be constantly, like us, listening to it on loop all the way through because it's just stunning.
Like us, you'll be very nerdy, and everyone will look at you strangely.
and own that.
No, I've been owning that all my life. Don't you worry.
Exactly. Be proud of that. The Survival Remixes by Dominic Glynn is available now, as we were saying on the download. Keep in touch with him on his Facebook page for the CD page. Go and get this in whatever format you want.
Bring up the ticker again. Bring up the ticker again.
He's so demanding, isn't he? He's absolutely so demanding.
Let's do it. The Survival Remix is available now. Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon Music, Spotify, Deezer, what the hell is that? And all your favorite digital music services for Dominic Glynn, the Survival Remixes. Available now.
We recommend it wholeheartedly. And don't forget, go and have a look.
In rehearsal, didn't it? Yeah, sorry.
On the Merchandise Paradise playlist, have a look at the original interview I did with Dominic at the release for this and get his take on this as well. Michael, thank you for joining me for this geek out over this wonderful piece of work for our latest edition to The Sound of Whosic. I'll be seeing you again shortly, I am sure.
Yes, and yeah, go buy it.
Go buy it.
Yeah,
from all of us, please like the video, share this so we can tell everybody just how much we love Dominic's survival remixes. Give us a like, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. And as I say, don't forget to go and look at the merchandise playlist and go and look at my interview and good old chat there with Dominic. Until
it's a good chat. It's a good chat. Actually, I enjoyed it.
It is a good chat. He's very easy to talk to. So listen, until we see you again on the channel, thanks for joining us. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.